I have to tell you guys, that video was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it.
We had a blast.
I could tell.
You'll have to do one with me, with us. Yeah, it's fun. We just hop on Zoom and have a conversation.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Are you allowed to let people in, Cammie, or is it just me?
It's just you.
Okay. All right. I just want to keep, but you can say hi. I'm just picking another card for our group. Hi.
I just picked a goddess card.
You did?
Yeah. I got Freya.
Ooh.
Bold. Wait a minute. I got to put my glasses on.
How are you, Sue?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so nice to see your face.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too.
Hi.
See Marie and Cammie and
Hi.
Hi, Marie.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So Cammie, as people come on, or once we get everybody on, as many people as we think are showing up tonight, can you walk them through how to have their name on their box? Do you know how to do that?
Well, I feel like it's a little different for everyone, but let's see. Yeah, so but yeah, I can do my best. I know the gist of it.
Right now, I think Sue's the only one that doesn't. I just want everyone to see everyone's name because I don't know if we'll be able to go through introductions. If all, I know there's one person that's not coming tonight, so that leaves like 29 of us. So that's 45 minutes is not enough time. We literally need to be on here for like 3 days. We'll get there. We'll have a 3 session. All right, I'm just gonna pick this card.
Here we go.
All right, this one's stuck. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I hear a crying baby. It's okay.
Hello.
Hi, Jen.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Kara is not going to make it. She sent me a picture of her in the salon chair running behind. Oh, that's too funny. We're recording this, so we'll be able to send out the recording to you guys and to anybody that doesn't make it for tonight. But there was a part of me that didn't want to do that because I really want everyone to try to show up every time and not rely on the recordings. But it's nice to be able to review them too, to go back and listen. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm so excited.
Ooh, yay, me too.
What was that? I didn't even hear.
I'm so excited.
Oh, I know. Me too.
I've got one of these yoga ball chairs.
And if
And
it
like-
bothers anybody to watch me rock, I will stop, okay?
Okay, good to know.
Hey, Cammie.
Hi. Hi. This is so fun.
So while we wait for others to show up, I said in the email, I mentioned you might want to have a notebook or a journal just in case you want to take notes on anything.
Yeah, definitely. You'll definitely want a notebook or journal. Just jot little things down that come to mind, or if you have any questions or something.
Can I tell you my story about my journal?
Yes.
So I go to the store and look for an online journal, and I couldn't find anything. Everything had lines. And I picked up something and thought, oh, this is it. Perfect. It feels handy. It feels good. I get to the cash register. There's no price on it. So she says, just give it to her for $1. So as she's flipping, looking for a price tag, I see there's writing on the first page. So I am using someone's journal who forgot it at the store.
Oh, wow.
my
Oh
What?
my gosh.
I'm hoping that there's no bad karma.
No. I kind of look at it as good.
That's what
mean,
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Somebody's loss is my gain. Or
Yeah.
$1.
That's lovely.
They charge you for someone else's journal, though.
But only $1.
True. It's true.
That's funny.
It makes it more meaningful, I think.
Well, it was obviously mine, right?
Right?
Yeah, you were meant to have it for sure.
There was some kind of glitch in the universe that the person bought it and then it had to be, they bought it instead of you and you ended up with it. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
I love seeing everyone's face pop on.
So if you have questions, feel free to write them in the chat box and Cami will be fielding as many of them as possible as we go through tonight. I'll be asking questions and I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. So just write. Does everybody know how to use the chat box? Everybody knows how to use Zoom by this point, right? If not, it's okay. Raise your hand if you don't know how to use Zoom.
Perfect. So yeah, and if anything's resonating with you, if you want to be like, oh my God, yes, or if you feel an emotion, you're like, wow, that really hits home, or put it in the chat box, and that'll be a way for everyone to feel like we're all in a group circle, which we are. It's just from our own homes.
Right. And hopefully eventually we can meet up in person. If you live around here, once we can be outside. I think it would be kind of nice to have an outside circle
Yes.
eventually.
Yes, that would be
Crystal.
great.
So I either have a small notebook or a larger one. What do you recommend?
Large, so you can write big ideas.
Write big, write whatever you want. All the things. I do want to, I know there might be some more joining, but if everyone could check their name and see if they can make their name their actual name, because I see a few people that I don't know if you share your Zoom or share your devices, so maybe it's coming up as something different. So if you can check, I know that if you're on a computer and you click on participants and you see your name, there's actually a little more. If you highlight your name, there's a little more tab and you can click rename, and that can rename you. Rename yourself. If you're on your
You
phone,
can kind of get familiar with each other that way, since a lot
so
of us
that
don't
everyone
know.
can see if you have if you on gallery view, so we can all see each other. Show your face if you feel comfortable doing that. Perfect. Yes, I see Terry now, who was once Mama Dukes, which I
was
love.
liking Mama Duke, though. I was ready. I was prepared to call you that.
Terry / Mama Dukes. Perfect. And Sue, thank you. Yes.
Yep.
All right.
So my daughter gave me that name, Mama Dukes, and I I get restaurant reservations under Mama Duke's. I had with
That's
my
perfect.
phone when she programmed it, and my aunt in Hawaii was like, "Who is Mama Duke's calling me?"
I love it.
And I just
That's
went with
awesome.
it. So that was like 5 years ago.
That is awesome. You could have left that if that's
Yeah.
what you want. So it is time. We might have a couple people hop on. I'll just admit people in as they come in. But I want to keep this meeting to the 45-minute limit, but I just want to say that probably every other meeting will end up being longer than 45 minutes because it ended up being such a big group and there's always so much to share. But if you have allotted just that 45 minutes and that's your thing for the next 6 months and you need to go at 7:45, then you can, quietly exit the group and that's okay. I'm recording every meeting, so we'll be able to send out the recording so you can review it. But I highly encourage you to show up for every meeting. It's just the best way that we can really become this tribe that we're striving to be and connect through yoga. Let me just make sure no one emailed me with any trouble logging on.
And I also just want to ask if everyone can mute themselves, just so that it helps with the connection so that Jen is less wonky in me while I'm talking.
Know if that's possible just through a mute button, me being less wonky.
So yeah, so if you want to mute yourself, and those of you that are just jumping on, we're gonna use the chat box and stuff. If you have questions, comments, if you have anything you resonate with or want to share, throw it in the chat box and we can all converse in there while Jen and I are chit-chatting too, okay?
Type in the chat box what you all think is like a fair, I could keep it to 75 minutes. I feel like that's doable. An hour and 15 minutes. And sometimes it will be shorter. Does that sound like it's doable for everyone? Not today will be 45. I'll try to keep it to the 45. An hour and 11 minutes. That's perfect. So just tell me, all right, that works. So if the overarching theme is that it works for everyone, then most meetings will be about an hour and 15 minutes.
Like a yoga
and then
class.
What's that?
Like a yoga class.
Like a yoga class. And maybe, we'll add some extra meetings or, we're doing the videos. So you all received the YouTube video that I sent out last night. You can type in the chat box for everything. Did everybody or most of you get to watch that? Type yes if you did get to watch the video. And if anything, like any kind of comments that you might have about it, anything that came up for you, if you thought it was fun, if you thought it was boring, if you thought whatever you want to say about it, feel free. So those will be some extra content, some extra things to learn about and to listen to and just keep you engaged. It's kind of fun to have that in between because it's going to feel like a long time between now and the next time we meet. So we want to have that feeling of community continuously. Another question that I have before we close our eyes and center ourselves is, do we want a private Facebook group for us to stay in touch? And again, you can type your answer in the chat box if you think
this would be like a private group that only the enJOYment tribe would be in, and we can post things, talk to each other, communicate, ask questions. I'll be on there able to answer and facilitate questions as well if that's what we wanted to do.
A little wild on there,
Get a little crazy.
Get a little crazy on there. Okay, Jody doesn't have Facebook, and that's okay too. If you don't, and you could, I don't know if you're comfortable doing that, just creating an account to have the group and not do anything else on Facebook. I've had other people do that too. So that's entirely up to you. So it looks like most people want to have the Facebook group. Jill, you don't have Facebook. That's okay. we'll set it up and we'll just add everyone that is on Facebook. So if you all friend me and Cami on Facebook, so I'm Jennifer Bandilli on Facebook, Bandilli. And then Cami, you're Cami Lee Sampson.
I might just
SAM.
be Sammy Sampson on there, but
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Well, just if you find us, then we'll be able to add you easily. And then we'll have a Facebook group. And that will be fun because after tonight's class, I'm gonna send out another video that Cami and I did today about a little invitation to drop the ego. And so having a Facebook group will be fun to practice that, dropping the ego, and we'll be able to, talk about it and stay in touch, and it will just create more comfort within the group, I think too. Let me just check my notes. So we got the name, we got the Facebook group. All right, we're gonna just take a few minutes to center. So if you want to just sit in a comfortable position and close your eyes, and we'll arrive finally. I don't know what you were all doing before we arrived, but we'll just all arrive here together. Closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths, and just giving yourself the space to arrive here and just energetically welcome everyone in to this new community, this new tribe that will carry us through many things over the months. And you all know my vision, it extends beyond June. And relaxing your heart, opening your heart. And you can just keep your eyes closed and continue to breathe. I'm going to read. I picked a card for us, for the group, from my Whispers of Lord Ganesha deck. And I picked Inner Knowing for us. And it says, you have a place inside you that holds your most significant answers. Within each of us lies our intuitive knowing. Motivation and ideas are present, yet untapped in the space within us. The spark of the divine waits patiently for us to tune in and retrieve our guidance. This is a time of soul searching. You are in a phase of introspection where you are drawing your attention and focus inward and looking for guidance within. You have a strong need to understand, not just at the surface level, but also to really know why things are unfolding in the manner that they are. You now have access to this inner knowing that the truth and acceptance you seek is within you. This is a perfect time to take a step back from your day-to-day life and deeply contemplate your motivations, personal principles, and values. Seek the truth. Work with Ganesha and see that through meditation, consideration, and self-assessment, the opportunity to evaluate your direction and personal goals awaits you. Your priorities may shift as you develop a deeper perspective. Take this opportunity for some much needed alone time. That's pretty perfect for what we're doing here. So just take that in. If you need to jot anything down that you heard that resonates with you, take a minute and do that. And again, feel free to use the chat box for anything that comes up that you want to share, and we'll be able to read it at some point, and Cami will be reading it throughout. And then when you're ready, you can come back, either open your eyes or pause from writing or keep writing and just listen. So a question that actually before we get a little bit deeper into things. Does anybody have any kind of housekeeping questions for me? I see Barbara, you asked, can I verify the email that you sent the video to? I think I'm missing some stuff. Okay.
I just messaged her to send me her email address, so I'll verify that we have that.
If there's any other that kind of like housekeeping stuff, there's a few emails that I need to figure out why it's not sending to. So we can answer those questions. And then on a more personal level, and I would love for you to share this in the chat box, and I'll pick a couple to read out loud. What are some of your personal goals for yourself that you wish to achieve through this tribe? So coming into this personal enjoyment journey and, you know, this connection that we're making with this group and yoga teacher training and yoga as a lifestyle. What are some goals that you, and goals is a loose term, you know, what do you have in mind for yourself? What do you hope for? What's in your heart? So if you could just let us know that in the chat box, that would be neat to hear from you. I know for me, you know, a sense of community right now is really important, and yoga, as you'll learn, for those of you that are new to this whole journey, you'll learn that yoga is, you know, it's more than the asana. It's a lifestyle. It's everything. It becomes everything. So one of my favorite quotes from Krishna Das that you probably will hear me repeat things over and over again. Some things just never get old. But one of my favorite quotes from Krishna Das is that there's no separation between your spiritual life and your life, right? It's all the same journey. So as soon as you can start to really take that in to your being, the sooner things will start to make sense a little bit more. You know, we talk a lot about awareness in this training. So you'll just take your awareness that you start to develop in these meetings and when you're going through the yoga teacher training, and you'll take it off of the mat. So you want to think of all of this as just practical, everything that you learn in here, everything you experience with yourself on your mat. You want to be able to take that and use it in your life off the mat, you know, and that's what yoga, it just teaches us to do that so easily and so readily. And that's what creates such a nourishing life, and, you know, building this community together. That's what I see us as, nourishing each other, reminding each other to show up for ourselves, to show up for each other. And that's why, you know, showing up every other week when we have these meetings is so important, and participation is so important. And we'll start to see the way that yoga weaves its way into our lives in such a beautiful way. So I'm just going to look at some of the comments now. Let's see. I love this. There's so many. Continuous focus on gratitude. I love that. More inner peace, heart opening. A deeper understanding of yoga and how to incorporate it in a better way into my life and experiencing it with others. Recenter after this past year of craziness. Yeah, I miss my spiritual community and look forward to diving back in. So much. I love that. Work through trauma, heal from the recent loss of my father, figure myself more and more, inner peace. Yep, totally. Stay on track with myself, nurture to the degree I extend nurture to others. That's huge, Lynn. Nurturing yourself to the degree that we nurture others. How many of you can relate to that one? That's a big one.
I love the vulnerability, everyone. I love all your answers, all your sharing. I can tell that everyone's showing up in an authentic and genuine place, and that's really important. And it's nice that we can all be here and we're all holding each other in this container.
That is exactly what it is. Allow things to be as they are, letting go, needing so much control. Yeah. deeper than the asanas. So you'll definitely dive deeper than the asanas. But they're really, you know, that's another thing too, is it's such a, so if you haven't already, and you can write, I'm curious actually, let me know who has kind of dove into the yoga teacher training, the online, the link that you got last week or whenever it was, if you've kind of started to check that out. And I'm going to touch on asana. I joke a lot, you know, and make it seem like asana is not important, but really it's very important. And in the Joy yoga teacher training, Jill, I've been diving for years. You're hilarious. She's been in the yoga teacher training for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. I love it. And she just keeps on coming back and, you know, learning more and more. So what you begin to kind of unfold within yourself with the physical practice is self-awareness and being present and viewing yourself or becoming the witness to your life, your thoughts, right? So your physical practice really starts to give you that, and you probably have already had it. I'm sure all of you have been practicing yoga now to some degree, where you have those aha moments, or you find yourself crying in deep relaxation, or so the physical practice is really important to get in touch with your body and your intuition. Your intuition lives in your body. Your body knows everything first. And so it's important to be able to read that and understand that. So we talk about the practical application of yoga off the mat. Well, it begins on the mat a lot of the times in your physical practice, because we start to tune in to what our body is telling us, right, on the mat. And then eventually you stay in tune all the time. So you're always listening to what your body is telling you. It's the perfect little friend to have with you all the time, because it's going to tell you if it's, you know, every emotion, what it's feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And it's your job now, as you integrate the yogic lifestyle, to listen to that as much as possible, right? So that awareness, again, starts to weave its way into your life, and you create this whole tapestry of yoga.
Yeah, and with the physical practice, you know, we actually have stuck energies and stuck blocks in our physical bodies. So when we do the physical practice, we're also moving those energies, we're moving those blockages. And that's why sometimes in a posture, or maybe we make it all the way to Shavasana until we feel the tears coming or we get emotional. And it's because we hold on to things in our physical body. And so even if you don't do a full yoga practice, if you just stretch, if you do just the very gentle, Jen has some gentle videos in there, even just doing those, you're moving energies around, you're expressing your body in different ways, and it allows those things to clear through, along with connecting the mind and spirit to the practice.
Right, and that's through the breath. So that's when you start to get into the first session, you'll start to do that immediately. It's linking the movement and the breath, along with lots of philosophy and spiritual practices. So it sounds like, if I go through this, that most of you have, and Jill, I just keep seeing yours. I've been diving for years. I love it. Most of you have looked into it. So you will notice that there is a book list. And because this is a casual enjoyment journey, you're not required to do anything except for hopefully show up for these meetings and, you know, expose yourself to the online training through the videos and the audio and the transcripts. So you'll notice the transcripts and the audios are basically the same, but the audio, you'll see, ends up having much more information. So I, wrote out all the transcripts when I did it. And then when I started to record it, I added a lot more. And so within that, you'll find different, I won't call them assignments for this, but more like reflections. You can pick and choose what you want to do. I'm sure you're going to be tempted to do some of it, because a lot of it is just journaling. It's just writing down your experiences when you practice or when you meditate, or things that you notice off the mat. So there's a lot of invitations to explore yourself on this journey. And like I said, none of it is required, but I think that you're going to find that you want to dive a little bit deeper. So getting to that, you'll see that there is a book list. You're not required to buy the books, but they are useful. I mean, I've had my books for, I don't even know, some of them I've had for 20 years, and I have had to rebuy them over and over. Like Light on Yoga that's the book that I started with in my living room a long time ago. And that one I've had to buy over and over again. I buy it for people all the time. I've ruined the spine of it, or the pages are falling out. So some of them you will, or all of them, you will revisit, maybe not all, not Fierce Medicine. You might read that once, and it's just a great story. Anna Forrest is a yoga teacher. And her story is just incredible about how she used yoga to transform her entire life of trauma. Starting from the age of 3, her trauma began. So her story is really interesting. And you have the 7 spiritual laws of yoga. You'll want that one forever. You'll have the Yoga Sutra book. You'll want that one forever. Maybe you're not into anatomy, so maybe you don't get anatomy, or maybe you find some other yoga anatomy book that you like better and you buy that. Or if you love it, then Trail Guides is a great anatomy book. I'm trying to think of what else there is. You Can Heal Your Life, Louise Hay, great book. And what else is there, Cammie? Do you remember the books?
The Yoga Sutras of Pantajali.
I said that. Yoga Sutras, 8 Limbs of Yoga, You Can Heal Your Life.
Be Here Now.
Be Here Now, wild book.
Yes.
And 8 Limbs of Yoga. I just thought of the other one. Light on I said Light on Yoga, BKS Iyengar. There's one more. Anyway, you will likely carry those around. If you're like me, do you always carry books with you? Do you always have at least one book with you? Are you a book person? I am such a book person. I always have like really big goals that I have like 3 books with me all the time. Like I'm reading these in the waiting room. And I might not ever crack it open, but I have it with me. So anyway, I encourage you to look into the books that you think you might be interested in. And I will tell you that the neat thing about the books that I chose for this course is that you can read them over, when you can go into them over and over and over again. Most of them you will not read front to back because they're pretty intense, but you will revisit them over and over again. And even if you read the same thing over and over again, it's going to have different meaning. So that's another thing that yoga does, is that the subtleties of it just continue and continue and continue. Like when you think that there's nothing left, then don't ever think that, because then forget it. Then you have this huge expansion and you're like, okay, there's like, in a million lives, I don't think we could learn it all. There's so much to take in and experience with yourself. So these books are like this word that's in my head today. These are little portals into yourself and into your soul and into like a lot of the things that you talked about in the chat, your purpose for why you're here and why you're experiencing this for the first time, or you're re-experiencing it. These are your portals to remembering your heart and your wisdom, because essentially that's what we're doing when we take these journeys, is we're remembering ourselves more and more and more. And there's no coincidence that we're all here together either. So just know that, our souls made some kind of contract to meet up right now, tonight. So that's kind of neat that we're doing this and we're here. And we're remembering each other, so you can wave to each other's soul. What else do we need to add to that as far as the books go, Cammie, or anything else?
Yeah, I think that, I ordered all the books when I went through the training, and I sort of like skimmed through the titles of them, and I found one that really stuck with me that I read front to back, and that was You Can Heal Your Life. And that book really changed my life. And I think it's different for everyone. So maybe you don't buy all the books right off the bat if that doesn't feel good for you, but maybe at least Google them, look them up, read read their descriptions, because I do think a book is a great tool. So maybe read the descriptions and pick one or two that you really are like, oh, that really resonates with me, and devote yourself to at least one or two of them that you'll read front to back, that you'll read cover to cover, that you can really dive deep into, because that's what we really want to do. We want to dive deep into something, and the rest will follow. It all comes. So pick something that you can really fall into and allow yourself to open to, and coming
Don't let it be light on yoga.
here.
Not
so
front
like,
to back. Has anybody,
yeah, like,
Jill,
what?
actually, I have a question for you, being in this for so many years. Have you read Light on Yoga front to back yet? I know the answer because it's everybody's answer.
No. She says no.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, Light on Yoga is something that you might sort of pick through, but like You Can Heal Your Life, The Fierce Medicine, those are two books that you could read cover to cover for sure. And then there's also things like I'd suggest, like even Be Here Now, you can read cover to cover. The Four Agreements, it's not on your reading list, but that one's also a good one. You could read cover to cover.
It's in the bonus material. Everybody
Yeah.
got the link for the bonus material.
Okay.
That one, those books are not, they don't really, they're not part of the yoga teacher training. Those were just like extra ones. And I'll add to that. There's so many books.
Right. Yeah. We'll add to that list too, but something that resonates with you that you can really feel yourself opening up to, that's the key. We want to get our foot in the door of allowing our hearts to open and be a part of this practice. And then we start to open a little more and a little more, and then we can really take in all that yoga has to offer and all that it's trying to teach us. So it's just these baby steps that, are helpful.
The thing, when I chose those books, and so if you do end up getting all of them, you'll notice that they create a story all together of the mind, body, and soul. And so we have the 7 spiritual laws of yoga.
Yeah, that's a great one.
You Can Heal Your Life, and you can and Light on Yoga. So when you start to learn about each aspect from the books, from the training, you're able to read. And my idea behind that was for you to be able to read your body's language, right? Your body, your mind, your soul's language. And then in turn, it heightens your intuition, and that's definitely beneficial when you're in relationships, because it heightens that around other people as well. So you're able to read, you start with yourself, you're able to read what's going on within you on all those levels. And then, again, that practical application of yoga as a lifestyle, you're then able to start to read other people, which allows us to be more compassionate and loving and forgiving, because we can read their body language, and we know how that correlates to the chakra. And then we also know what organs in the body might be related to that chakra, and what tension or stress or disease they could be holding on to. So and this is kind of like becomes in an instant, you start to pick that up with other people. So there is a little bit of, magic that happens when you have all those books. And by the end of the course, you've gone through all of them to some degree. And again, you start to weave it all together and have the ability to read yourself. And then again, like, you start to be able to read others in a different way. And that's all simultaneously as your heart opens, and we're just really tapping into our innate abilities through all of these practices. So that's just a lot. I was going to say a little bit about the books, but it ended up being a lot.
How's everyone feeling about this right now?
Yeah, tell us how you're
Feeling
feeling.
good? We getting it, feeling it. Are we excited? You can drop it in the chat box if this is resonating, if you're picking up on it. Excited. Awesome.
See some of your faces.
Yeah.
Big smiles.
We're all listening so intently, so I want to just check in and make sure. All right, cool.
Now, there's one little exercise that I didn't think that we'd be able to do on Zoom, but I thought about it this afternoon, and we're going to be able to do it to some degree. So we're going to take a few deep breaths again. Take some deep breaths, come back. I know, like, if you're like me and you start a new class, you get excited about so many things in your mind, like you get all these ideas and you become creative and whatnot. So let's bring that in. Take some deep breaths, and we're just going to take a quiet minute and look at all of the faces in this group. So look around at everyone and feel, right? So we're looking, but we're also feeling. How do you get on the gallery? There should be a thing in the top right that says your view. And one of them says gallery. Is that right, Cami? How do you
Yep.
get?
If you're on your phone, you might just have to swipe over and then you can
Right.
see about four faces at a time. If you're on a computer, your top right corner will be view, and then you'll just click to gallery.
We're just breathing and getting a feel for everyone. I saw someone put their glasses on. That's perfect.
I love it.
And you're feeling simultaneously. There's a lot of simultaneous that happens. Feeling into your heart, feeling into your body as you take a look at everyone. And what do you notice? And what do you feel? And what do you sense? And you can start to write those things. You don't have to write names or anything of what you're feeling about. This isn't like a reading or anything, but it's just a sense of what you're getting from your tribe members. So just start to write that in when you start to get that sense of what you're feeling, what you're seeing. And I'll read them as they come up. We have love, big love. And then we have every emotion. Love the smiles. There's no right or wrong. So you just write in what it is. Happy. I see willingness, joy, connections, warm, sincerity, happiness, and waiting to be vulnerable. Everyone is excited to be here. Connected, tribe, eagerness. Yep. That's perfect. And so when we have our in-person YTTs, this is one of the first exercises that we do with one another. So what happens is that we split up into pairs, and I have the students sit back to back and breathe with each other and start to feel into each other's energy. And then after a couple minutes or so, they turn around and they talk for a minute. And most people, when we start YTT, don't know each other at all. So they talk, they get to know each other in that 1 or 2 minutes. And then they write down, I have everyone write down the positive qualities that they see in that person. And then after everyone does that, they read the positive, they read it to one another, what they see in each other. And then we take a big deep breath. And then the big reveal is you read your list of qualities that you saw in your partner. You read it to yourself, because what you're seeing in another is actually what is within you. And so if you want to scroll back through the chat box and what you have written and what other people have written. So it's what you see in yourself, what you wrote about what you see in the group. It's really what is revealed within you. And it's what you see in the group too. But it's just it's so easy to see the beauty in someone else, right? And the happiness and the whatever, those positive qualities are. It's so easy to see it in someone else. And when we turn it around on ourselves, it can be a little bit challenging to accept that as something that we are. But it's important to take that in and accept that as what you are. You are beautiful, you are compassionate, you are eager, you are happy, you are, and Joanne says, and then they cry. I love it. We all cry all the time. And that's why I hope we do get to meet in person, because that's basically what we do is we connect and we cry and we have a great time. Jen, you did this with Kayla during your class. That's awesome. It's a great exercise. So you can use that on people, if you want to give it a try. Even though you know the outcome, it's still pretty neat to try with people. So that's the mirroring exercise. Let's see. And I had one more question for you tonight. It's already 7:38, so I'm being very mindful of time, which is hard for me when I get on these groups because I want to just talk and talk and talk. So me staying on point, it's a challenge, but so far so good. So coming into this, I asked you what your personal goals were for it, and expectations. But as far as yoga goes, for those of you that have a practice, or if you have a meditation practice, and that is yoga too, you'll see that basically everything in life is yoga. What brought you to that? What brought you to yoga? Do you find, and obviously you can write this in the chat as you find your answers, was it a big life event? Was it painful, or was it exciting, or did someone introduce you to it? What brought you to yoga, and maybe what brought you here? But just the origins of your yoga life, what brought you to it? You'll hear over and over again from people that it's either a physical thing that brought you to yoga. Like for me, it was low back pain. Even though I had tons and tons of emotional stuff to work through, I didn't know that it was going to help me heal most of that. Or it's a major life event that brings you to yoga, that has you questioning. There's got to be something else, right? There's got to be more to life. So Jill, you're so cute. Hitting a mental rock bottom. Yep. Need to find and connect with. I got to pull my chat out further. Movement, exercise originally. Yeah. Then it was an eagerness to learn more to help others. That's a huge one. As you start to have that desire, like I want to, as your heart opens, you just naturally want to help others. And there was a comment before about someone that wanted to use this to nurture themselves. And so it's both of those things. That's the beauty of yoga, is that we can nurture ourselves and create space within ourselves in order to nurture others better and have more compassion and forgiveness and all those things. Originally it was a physical practice, and then it turned into something deeper. Yep. Yeah. So it's amazing how that happens. A lot of you came to it for the physical aspect. And then it's like, even if your teacher never talks about the other limbs of yoga, you just start to like leave class and be like, whoa, what is going on? There's something happening here. And then you want to learn more. You're like, I know that there's more to this. And so this is the more to this aspect. I was seeking something that I didn't even understand. I later realized it was my authentic self. I was seeking and connecting with my soul. Then I came to joy because of Joanne. That was Marie that said that. And that's another thing to think about too. Really, like, this is a close your eyes kind of moment. So I invite you again to close your eyes. And this is kind of a nice way to close the meeting for tonight. We'll open our eyes again after, but just for now, close your eyes and do a quick scan of your life, the timeline of your life, and everything that brought you to this very moment. All the good, all the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. That's what joy contains, all of that. All the things that brought you to this moment. And really just kind of breathe that in. Because like I said before, there's no coincidence in life. we've probably have all had many lives together. And how cool that we get to meet up again, that every single moment in your life has led you to this moment. And with that, open to gratitude. We're so lucky that we get to be here with each other. And we get to be this for each other and experience this with each other. And it feels really good if you place your hands over your heart center. So it's right at the center of your chest, in between your breasts, just a gentle placement of your hands. And you start to connect with your spinal fluid. So this creates a neurological response when you place your hands at heart center. It calms the body, it connects the breath and the body. And we're able to really create a feeling of gratitude within ourselves for this moment and for everything that led us here. And when you're ready, you can feel free to open your eyes. And if you want to share any last closing thoughts in the chat box, you can. And tonight you'll receive another email with another video, and you don't have to watch it tonight or anything, but it's your invitation to what's next. You know, the thread that will pull us through until our next meeting and beyond. You'll be invited to the Facebook group, and we can continue to our discussion from there. And if you ever need to, you know, or want to talk to me privately, you can always reach out and set that up if things come up. And one thing that I tell every group that I work with in yoga teacher training is that life is always going to happen. This is going to be things that happen in the next 6 months together, 5 or 6 months, or, you know me, eternity. We're going to be in this group forever. But life happens. And that's when you can, through this, I want you to really to know and feel that you're going to have the tools to be able to show up no matter what's going on, because you can have both. You know, you can have whatever is happening in your life, whatever good, bad, ugly, beautiful thing, and this, and you can bring it here, you know, and allow yourself to open and be present with whatever it is that's happening. Obviously, we understand, you know, if sometimes you need to miss a meeting or whatever, but just know that, you know, life will always happen. And don't ever feel like you're getting behind. There's no such thing as behind. There's just where you are. And the first Yoga Sutra is yoga begins now. And guess what? You can always open up to that first Yoga Sutra and begin again and again and again and again. And it's always going to feel like a new beginning. So there's no competition. There's nowhere to be. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to get to. There's just being here now as you are. And that's what we're going to do together. And we will talk. So you'll have your invitation to your first not assignment. It's been wonderful seeing everyone, and I love the chat box, getting to like really see what everyone's thinking and feeling. And we'll be able to, you know, talk more with each other in the next meeting. I just kind of wanted to get a lot of this stuff out tonight, but I want to hear from you in the next meetings that we have, and the things that you're experiencing. There'll be different things to share, so it'll be easier than tonight. If we did like introductions, that would take a long time. But we know each other's hearts already, even if we don't remember each other's names. And that's a good
Um,
thing.
I also want to say if anyone did not receive the email, you can either message me privately in the chat if you don't want to share your email, or just message in the chat if you didn't get the email. And then Jen, I had someone asking how they can log into the account for the transcripts and the audio. So is that an email that you previously sent out?
It was, everybody should have received a link, but sometimes it doesn't go through. So just email me if that is, actually just email me if you haven't received the emails and you still need the YTT link. So the info@journeyomyoga.com email is the one. And also my phone number, you can text me. It's 603-952-9222. So don't worry if you haven't gotten in there yet. And so we'll get you set up with everything. So if you haven't been receiving the emails or you need the link to the training, then just send me an email. It's easier, Cami, since I have everything on my end.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll figure that out. And we might even start like a regular email thread. I've been sending the emails out through MailChimp, like my thing that I use for newsletters and stuff. So I'll probably set up like a private email for all of us too to chat on. So those of you that don't have Facebook will have that too. All right. Well, thank you. I went over, so I apologize for taking 4 extra minutes of your time. And
does anyone have any questions before we sign off? Are there questions if anyone needs to ask?
Not related to technical stuff, because that you can just send to me. So there is no set amount to do each week. Nope, there is no set amount unless you're following. If you want to follow the yoga teacher training to a T, then I'll tell you that each session takes about 35 hours. So we have between now and June to complete. If you're doing it that way, it'll be 200 hours. So if you're doing it that way, you'll just need to divide your time that way. I don't know how many hours a week that ends up being. So if you are doing it, studiously, then you'll have to figure out what that is. And if you have questions about that, you can ask me. You can send me an email about that. I think that was it. Awesome. All right.
All right.
Well, we'll see you on Facebook, or we'll see you at the next meeting. And this is awesome. Namaste.
Namaste. Have a good night, everyone.